Howdy, welcome to the Excel tute on how to sort a data table. This one's pretty simple, but I'll take it a step beyond the simplest sorting, which might help you a lot when you get to the assignment. If you haven't already done so, please pause the video and open the sample data file that's called How to Sort Data XLS. It should look like this. Once you've got this open, you'll be able to try the things as we explain them. Looking at your data table, it contains 4 columns of data and shows us how many seedlings there were of sedges and daisies in each burnt and unburnt quadrat. So highlighting the first column here, you can see there are about half a dozen quadrats. One's called quadrat G, then there's quadrat E, quadrat D, quadrat E, quadrat B, etc. Quadrat G is a burnt quadrat and it contains sedges and daisies. And in this one there were 2 sedge seedlings and 6 daisy seedlings. E is an unburnt quadrat. It contains 1 sedge seedling and 5 daisies, etc, etc. Okay. Now, let's imagine that you want to calculate how many sedge seedlings there were in burnt plots and compare that against how many sedge seedlings there were in unburnt plots. Did burning promote sedges or not? With a table like this, it's a bit of a mess. So the simplest way you can calculate that is to sort the table. And I'll show you how to do that in a few simple steps. First off, you always want to select all the data in our table, okay? Highlight the table before we push any other options. So let's move our cursor to the first cell here, called quadrat, and now we're going to highlight all the data in the table. Now if you've already done the earlier tute, you'll know you can do that very simply. The slow way is to drag your cursor up and down until you've highlighted them all and you've got it. Fast way is to put it on the first cell, go Shift Control down arrow, then Shift Control right arrow, and you've got it all. An even faster way that I didn't tell you before was to go back to the first cell and say Shift Control and look at that, one step. Awesome. Now you've selected the data and we want to sort it, so we've got the burnt data at the top and the burnt sedges at the top and the burnt daisies below, that type of thing. Now in Excel 2007, like I've got, if you look up in the top right corner here, you'll see a funnel button that says Sort and Filter. It's got an A to Z on it. We're going to use that. If you've got an earlier version of Excel, you can do exactly the same thing, but the Sort button somewhere else. So let's push the Sort button, and you'll see you've got some options. Sort A to Z, Sort Z to A, Custom Sort. Let's just start off by pushing Sort A to Z. If we do so, and then you look at your table, you see it's rearranged all the rows so that we've got the rows from we've got the rows from the quadrat A above quadrat B, above quadrat C, above quadrat D. So it's put them all in alphabetical order. Essentially, it got the first column in our table and it sorted that column by A to Z. That's not what we wanted, because we wanted to actually sort the burnt unburnt column from data A to Z. So let's just undo that. If we go back up to the very top left hand corner, there's a little blue curved arrow, means undo. If we push that, we're back to where we started. Let's try again. Highlight the first cell, Shift Control End, highlights the whole table. Now this time we'll go to Sort and Filter, and instead of Sort A to Z, we'll push Custom Sort. That opens this dialog box for us. Now at the top of the dialog box you can see the commands Add Level, Delete Level, Copy Level, arrow up and down, and then there's a little checkbox that says My Data has headers. What that means is it recognizes that the first row in our table is heading information. We don't want to sort that. Okay, so it's going to sort all the rows below that. So let's move down into this first blank little cell here that says Sort By. If we click on that arrow, we can sort by whatever we want. If we sort it by quadrat and sort it on the values in the quadrat field from A to Z and push OK, you'll see we did exactly what we did before. We get all the quadrats A from above B, above C, above D. Not quite what we wanted. Let's go back to Sort and Filter and push Custom Sort. And this time, instead of selecting quadrat in that column thing, we'll click on that and we'll say Select Burnt or Unburnt. And then we'll push OK. And you can see we've now got all the information from the burnt cells above all the information from the unburnt quadrats, which is awesome. Now that's not quite what we want, because we wanted to get all of the daisy information above the sedge information, okay? So we can see how many daisies there were in the burnt plots and the sedges in the burnt plots. So I'll just undo that once more, go back up to the top left to the little blue undo command. So we go back to where we started from. Now if I select all of that table, we go to sort and filter to custom sort once more. This time we'll start with burnt or unburnt. We'll sort on that because we know that's the first step we want. Then we'll say add level. See this little add level command in the dialog box? Click on that. Then we'll click on, then after we've sorted on burnt and unburnt, we'll sort by species from A to Z. So this should put all the burnt rows at the top, then the unburnt, and within the burnt it'll first put all the daisies and then all the sedges. Okay? And we can then say OK. And you can see now we've got a nice sorted data table. We've got all the data from the quadrats that were burnt that had daisies in them at the top. After that we've got all the quadrats that had sedges in them that were burnt. Then we've got all the unburnt with the daisies. Then we've got all the unburnt with the sedges. Okay? Really simple, easy way to separate the data so we can easily calculate numbers from it. Now there's one warning about sorting, about how you can muck things up. To show you this, I'm going to move to another table that's got the same data in it, but I've just coloured the table to make it a bit easier for you to see what happens. If you look to the bottom of our sheet, we're on sort table 1. Let's move across to the next tab. You can see this table is exactly the same as before, but it's got the rows coloured so we can see where things move when we sort them. Just to illustrate, if we highlight the entire table and we do a simple sort from A to Z, it should sort our quadrats from A at the top to G at the bottom. When we do that, we see A's at the top and all the rows still together. The colours are all together. Let's undo that so we're back to where you went. One of the risks that happens in a sort is that often people will try and just highlight part of the data table. So if I just highlight that column, so the burnt and unburnt column, and then say sort A to Z, it's going to give me a warning. It says, whoa, you're only sorting part of this. Well, let's say I continue and I ignore the warning. What it does is it sorts all the burnts to the top like we wanted to, and we sorted all the unburnts below, but it's muddled up all of the rows. So quadrat D, that's in orange, used to be a burnt quadrat and had sedges in it, and had 11, but we've now moved the heading from quadrat D into quadrat E, and it's mucked it all up. The big problem we have is here, quadrat F used to be unburnt, as you can see in grey, and we've now muddled it up and Excel thinks that quadrat F's now burnt. So that's because we've just sorted one column and not the entire table. So let's undo that. Another way you could have a problem is if you just sorted, say, everything to the right. Imagine you wanted to sort all the burns and the sedges like we did before, but you forget to highlight the quadrat column. If we now say a custom sort, it'll let us sort by burnt. We can add a level and sort by species. So we should put all the burnt ones at the top and then all the daisies together like we did before. If we push OK, it sorts all that right-hand half of the table, but again it's muddled it all up. So the information that used to be in quadrat G here that was in blue has now been sorted down into quadrat D. Again, if you analyse this, you'll get garbage out because it's all been muddled. So the key message is, if I undo that to take us back to the start, always highlight the entire table when you sort. If you highlight the entire table and you can sort it on whatever things we want. We can sort it on burnt first, then we can sort it on number of seedlings if we wish. It doesn't matter. We've sorted it again in a different way, but all of the data is in the rows, same rows that was entered, so it's all good data. So, basic message, if you've got a really complicated table with lots of information in it, it's really easy to sort it in Excel using the sort function. You can sort it on as many columns as you want. We started off sorting on burnt, then we did species as well to put it into groups. You can keep going through that. It's no matter how complicated your table. And it's a really simple way that you can take a messy table and say, I want to see all the burnt seedlings from each species separated. So at the top here we have all of the data about burnt daisies. That's it for this lesson. Make sure you can try this yourself and you can know how to do it before you move on to the next module. Bye.